But in the year 1620, something amazing happened. A bunch of people got on a tiny wooden ship and sailed across the big, scary Atlantic Ocean. Their goal: find a new home in a faraway land full of adventure and uncertainty. It's a crazy idea, right? Well, yeah, it was. But those people weren't your average adventurers. They were pilgrims. That's what we call the passengers on that ship, the Mayflower. Imagine if someone told you to pack your things and get ready to go on a trip around the world. You'd probably want to know a few details, like, where are we going? How long will we be gone? What are we going to do there? But these pilgrims, they only knew they didn't want to stay where they were. They had a dream of starting over somewhere new, somewhere they could practice their religion without getting into trouble. So they boarded the Mayflower, said goodbye to their old lives, and sailed into the great unknown. Now, before we dive into their wild journey, let's talk about the ship itself. The Mayflower wasn't your typical luxury cruise ship. Oh no, it was a slow, creaky wooden vessel that had been used for trading. It was cramped, dark and smelly, but for the Pilgrims, it was their ticket to freedom. Picture this: more than 100 people crammed onto a ship that was only meant for cargo. There were men, women and children, all excited about their future, but also scared out of their wits. They brought stuff with them, clothes, tools and food, but not enough for such a long journey. Now, the plan was to head to a place called Virginia, but we all know plans can change, right? Well, in this case, they changed in a big way. After sailing for more than 2 months, battling storms and freezing cold, they landed at Cape Cod, a whole 170 miles north of their planned destination. And guess what? No one had ever explored this area before. They were literally in uncharted territory. Now, imagine being one of the pilgrims landing in a place where no one knows if it's friendly or not. It's like walking into a haunted house, except instead of ghosts, it's filled with Native Americans. Despite all the scary stuff, the pilgrims decided to stick around. And here's where things get really interesting. Before they stepped foot on land, they signed a document called the Mayflower Compact. It's like a big contract that said we're all in this together. They promised to work together, make fair rules, and basically create a self-governing community. Talk about being prepared. This little agreement is a big deal. It's one of the earliest examples of self-government in America and a building block for the nation's future. But let's be real, life on land wasn't exactly a walk in the park. The first winter was harsh. Like, seriously harsh. Half of the pilgrims died, and the survivors faced hunger, cold, and disease. But guess what? They didn't give up. They dug in, learned from the local natives, and adapted to their new environment. And one of their Native American friends, Squanto, played a big role in helping them survive. He taught them how to grow corn, fish in the rivers, and live off the land. Without him, their story might have ended right there. After surviving the winter and learning the ropes from the locals, spring arrived, and so did a new set of challenges. Building houses, farms, and a whole new life took a lot of work. But the Pilgrims stuck together, and by the next autumn, they had plenty of food to share. To celebrate, they invited their Native American friends to a feast, a time to be thankful for their survival and new life. This event, now known as the first Thanksgiving, would inspire the holiday we celebrate today. As the years went on, more pilgrims arrived, and over time, their colony grew. Some sources say there were around 2,300 pilgrims in total, while others say closer to 21,000. That is a lot of people who left their homeland in search of a better life. Throughout their journey, they faced countless obstacles. From cramped conditions on the Mayflower to the harsh New England winters. But they never lost sight of their dream. They wanted to build a society based on freedom and religious tolerance. The story of the Mayflower and the Pilgrims is more than just an adventure. It's a lesson in courage, determination, and the pursuit of freedom. It reminds us that even when times are tough, hope can keep us going, and their dream of a better life inspired generations to come. But our journey doesn't end there. If you want to know more about the brave souls who crossed the ocean in search of a new life, check out these additional resources. They'll take you deeper into the stories of the Pilgrims and the fascinating history of the Mayflower. Click on the links provided to continue exploring. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more exciting adventures and historical tales. As you sail through the vast sea of knowledge, remember the spirit of adventure that drove the Pilgrims. Who knows where your journey might take you next? Now, back to our adventurers. When the Mayflower finally reached land, it was a mix of emotions: relief, excitement, fear, and wonder. They had made it, but now they had to start a whole new life in a place where nothing was familiar. The Mayflower had been their home for so long that stepping onto solid ground must have felt surreal. It was like going from a crowded, bumpy ship to a quiet, open field. For the men, women, and children who had been cramped in the Mayflower's dark and smelly hold, the Mayflower represented freedom and opportunity. It was the vessel that had carried them away from the troubles of Old England and brought them to the shores of a new world. But as with any journey, when the adventure comes to an end, there's a sense of closure, of finality that can be both liberating and daunting. Once they set foot on the shores of Cape Cod, they realized they were in uncharted territory. No one had explored this area before. It was like stepping into a brand new world. The sights, sounds, and smells of the New England wilderness must have been overwhelming. The smell of pine from the dense forests, the sound of birds they had never heard before, and the sight of plants and animals that were totally different from what they had seen in England. For many of the Pilgrims, it was a sensory explosion. They named the place New England in honor of England, the land they had left behind. But they were not the first people to inhabit this newfound territory. They shared it with the indigenous people who had lived there for centuries. The Pilgrims encountered several Native American tribes, including the Wampanoag, and these encounters were pivotal in the survival and growth of the Pilgrim settlements. The Wampanoag taught the Pilgrims how to cultivate the land, hunt, and fish in the area. The most famous of these Native American guides was Squanto, who helped the Pilgrims survive their first winter and establish friendly relations with the local tribes. But the relationship between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans was complex. While there were instances of cooperation and coexistence, there were also tensions and conflicts as both groups struggled to coexist in a new and unfamiliar environment. The Pilgrims' arrival marked the beginning of a new chapter in American history, a chapter that would eventually lead to the establishment of the United States. Their journey across the Atlantic Ocean on the Mayflower was a monumental event that shaped the course of history. If you've been enjoying our adventures so far, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Your support means the world to us and inspires us to bring more exciting stories to life. We've barely scratched the surface of the amazing tales waiting to be explored. Now let's return to our adventurers. While the Mayflower carried the Pilgrims to a new land, it also carried within it the seeds of a new nation. The principles of self-government established with the Mayflower Compact laid the foundation for the democratic ideals that would shape the United States. The Pilgrims' desire for religious freedom also planted the seeds of a nation that would become a beacon of religious tolerance and freedom of expression. Life on board the Mayflower was not easy. The journey was long and arduous, and the conditions on board were cramped and unsanitary. But the Pilgrims endured, driven by their dreams of a better life. Their story is a testament to the human spirit of adventure and exploration. They were willing to risk everything, leave their old life behind, and sail into the unknown in search of freedom and opportunity. In the centuries since the Mayflower arrived, millions of people have come to the United States seeking a better life, fleeing persecution, or simply looking for adventure. The Pilgrim's journey continues to inspire people around the world to pursue their dreams and take risks to create a better future for themselves and their families. The impact of the Mayflower and the Pilgrims on American history cannot be overstated. Their journey and settlement in New England marked the beginning of European colonization in North America and ultimately led to the establishment of the United States. Their story is an integral part of the American narrative, and their legacy lives on in the values and traditions of the nation they helped to create. If you want to learn more about the Mayflower and the Pilgrims, visit plimoth.org. You'll find fascinating details about their journey, their daily life, and their impact on American history. It's a great resource for anyone interested in exploring the rich history of early America. Now, what's your favorite part of the Mayflower and the Pilgrims story? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more thrilling tales from history. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.